You know the test I'm talking about. You've probably taken it hundreds, maybe even thousands of times. It's this tiny little ritual we all do online. It seems so simple, right? Almost trivial. But what if I told you it's actually one of the most brilliant ideas in computer science? Right? I mean, we've all been there. It feels like this constant interruption when you're just trying to get something done. Please check the box, select all the traffic lights. But I promise, this isn't just about slowing you down. It's a question with a really fascinating answer, one that gets to the very heart of our relationship with technology. So let's dive in and really uncover the story behind that little checkbox. So yeah, let's unpack that question. Are you a robot? Because behind that one simple click, there is a whole hidden story about security, AI, and what it even means to be human in this digital world. Get this. Every time you check that box, you're not just clicking something. You're basically stepping onto the front lines of a hidden digital war. Seriously, there is a constant, invisible struggle happening all over the internet, and in that moment, you are the secret weapon. And to understand why, we first need to understand the enemy. And that enemy, well, it all starts with the rise of the bots. These automated programs are the entire reason we need this test in the first place. So what is a bot exactly? Well, at its core, it's just a piece of software made to automate tasks that people normally do. You know, filling out forms, clicking buttons, posting comments. But it can do all of that at a speed no human could ever hope to match. And while, sure, some bots are helpful, a whole lot of them are not. This reminds me of a great story from the early days of the web that just perfectly illustrates the problem. There was this online poll asking which university had the best computer science program. Well, students at Carnegie Mellon created bots to just stuff the ballot box. But then students over at MIT found out and fought back with their own, even more powerful bots. The whole thing just became a contest of who could write the better program. The actual human opinion was totally lost. And that little prank war really highlights a much bigger problem. Malicious bots can be used to automatically create thousands of free email accounts to blast out spam, something Yahoo learned the hard way. They can completely manipulate online polls, flood comment sections with absolute junk, and even just sit there trying to guess passwords over and over again. They're a massive threat to a free and open internet. So how do you stop them? How do you let the real people in but keep the bots out? The solution was this absolutely brilliant idea, a kind of reverse Turing test, and it was hidden inside a very common acronym, CAPTCHA. Yep, we see this word all the time, but it actually stands for something, and it's a mouthful. Completely automated public Turing test to tell computers and humans apart. I know, right? But believe it or not, every single one of those words is important. It is a test designed specifically to separate us, the humans, from the software bots. The very first CAPTCHAs, like the one you're seeing here, use distorted text. Now, for a human brain, which is fantastic at recognizing patterns, reading this is pretty simple. But for a computer program back in the early 2000s, this was an incredibly difficult artificial intelligence problem. And that's why it's called a reverse Turing test. You may have heard of the famous original Turing test. That's a test where a machine tries to prove it can think and communicate just like a human. A CAPTCHA just flips that whole thing around. It's a test where you, the human, have to prove that you are not a machine. So it all boils down to this one really simple principle. Find a problem that's easy for us, but incredibly hard for the best AI out there. It's a test that works by taking advantage of the gap between human and machine intelligence. And this, right here, is where the idea gets truly elegant, because the creators of CAPTCHA built in what they called a win-win scenario. They actually designed a security system that just by its very nature could help advance science. So let's break this down. A website gives you a hard AI problem, like reading that distorted text. You, the human, can solve it easily and get in. The bot can't, so it's blocked. Great. The website is secure. That's win number one. But here is the amazing twist. What happens if a bot can solve it? Well, that means a previously unsolved problem in artificial intelligence has just been cracked for the benefit of all of humanity. That's win number two. The original researchers put it perfectly in their paper. A CAPTCHA creates this win-win. Either your security works or you've just pushed the entire field of AI forward. It's a security system where even failure is a form of progress. How cool is that? But that brilliant win-win logic also creates a brand new challenge, a constant arms race with artificial intelligence. The test has to keep changing because AI, it never stops learning. If you look at this timeline, you can really see how much things have changed. Back in the early 2000s, that gap between human and computer vision was huge. Reading wavy letters was super tough for AI. Then you move into the 2010s, and deep learning and neural networks just explode. Suddenly, AI gets incredibly good at image recognition. It can read that distorted text, it can spot cats in photos, it can identify street signs. So the tests had to change. And today, that gap is shrinking at a mind-boggling speed. What this all means is that the tests we take online are a constantly moving target. They have to be. They're always based on the very edge of what AI can't do yet. So as AI gets smarter, the puzzles we have to solve just to prove our humanity, they have to get more and more complex. And this leaves us with a final and pretty fascinating question. In a world where artificial intelligence can create art, write poetry, and hold conversations, what test will be left? As AI continues to close that gap, how, exactly, will we prove we're human?